Good day and welcome back to the Pin Podcast. We're on episode number 43, and here at the Pin Podcast, we talk about modern topics with a vintage flair. I'm your host of PinUp Miami. If it's your first time listening, welcome. I hope you stick around and enjoy all the topics that I have to offer. And if you're a returning listener, I want to say thank you so much for the support. It means so much for me, so much to me. I couldn't do this without you guys, and I don't have any words, but just to remind you every week how thankful I am to have you here. Make sure that if you haven't followed us on Instagram, check out Pinned Podcast Official on Instagram. Or send me a text. I get them directly. And you could ask me any questions, any topics you want to hear, especially for this episode, because there's going to be a follow-up episode, a part 2 to this episode. So text any questions, comments, concerns directly to me at 1-833-4A-PINUP. Before I get into today's episode, I just want to talk about today's sponsor. We have Radio Rock and Roll concert that's going to be April 16th at 9 p.m. here in South Florida at Alfaros in Calle Ocho. So if you're familiar with South Florida, you know Calle Ocho. I'm sure my guest knows Calle Ocho. If you play dominoes, you know Calle Ocho. So we have Radio Rock and Roll concert, which is a tribute to the music legends of the 1950s and 60s. So you're going to hear all the great hits from that era. There's even going to be an opening act by a Motown tribute band. So that's going to be exciting. And the most exciting part is I am one of the co-hosts for the night. So make sure to come out. It's only $25, but with a promo code that I have, you get $5 off. So you only pay $20. And the cool thing about this promo code is that you don't need to have a guest. Usually for this show, you need to reserve a table. But if you use my promo code, you get to sit in the cool kids table with all the pinups and all the rockabilly lovers here in South Florida using promo code PinUp Miami with a capital P, capital U, and a capital M. I'll put it down in the show notes below. You get $5 off and you get to sit at a table. So don't worry if you don't have a date, because you get to sit with like-minded individuals that are super cool. So make sure to check that out. I have the link down below. You don't want to miss out. Today, like I said, a little preview before, today's episode is going to be very interesting, controversial for a few, but it's really a topic that I've had in my mind for a while, and it's going to be an intense conversation that I want to get you guys, the listeners, input. So that's why there will be a second part to this episode. For this episode, I have Vivian. You know her. She's been here before. I guess officially she's a co-host because she's been here a number of times.
You can't get rid of me.
I can't. And her Instagram handle is Arteluna Miami. She also makes beautiful hair flowers. You're watching on YouTube. After you like and subscribe, make sure to check out her YouTube, Arteluna Millinery. She makes beautiful flowers. But today's episode, and it's gonna be about being plus size. Is all bodies beautiful? And how it's seen in the media, in the world, and influencers alike. There's so many things under this topic, but we're gonna touch over a few. We want to see what you guys have to say, so make sure to keep this a conversation and let us know in the comments below what you think or ideas that you have. So Vivian, we're both, I can speak for both of us. We're both plus size women.
Yes, I'm proudly
voluptuous. Maybe I can speak for myself, but medically obese. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Same. So and if I don't know how else to put it. So I wanted to talk about today about a few topics. So I've heard the statement, all bodies are beautiful, and I've heard the statement that all bodies are healthy bodies. So I wanted to break this down. Like, do you agree that all bodies are beautiful?
I do agree that all bodies are beautiful. Like, there's beauty in everything, and everyone is the way they are. That's how you were born. That's how you exist. And of course, there's beauty in that, and like they say, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but I think you can find beauty everywhere. So absolutely, all bodies are beautiful.
I agree. And how about all bodies are healthy? All bodies are healthy bodies. I don't know if you ever heard this mantra.
Well, that's a little more controversial. I believe that you can be fat and be healthy. Absolutely. I've always been a very healthy fat person. I've never had diabetes. I haven't had, high cholesterol. I haven't had any issues. After I turned 40, I had started having high blood pressure, but it's maintained. I have it under control and everything's okay. But other than that, I've always been a very healthy person, and I've been overweight my entire life. So you can be overweight and be healthy. But that's a very personal thing. There are people who are overweight and are not healthy, but at the same time, there's a lot of thin people that are not healthy too. So I don't think health is, directly correlated to the way the person, but it can be. I mean, it just depends.
See, I agree and disagree.
Bring it on, bring it on. That's what we're here for, just to have
On.
a discussion.
Yeah, this episode, I really have been thinking about this topic.
Maybe have a little sip.
Yes, sip. Cheers. I've never been a Starbucks fan until TikTok because I love the word Starbies, and then I don't know, just people make ridiculous drinks. But I've had this idea in my head that, like, yes, I like yourself, I've always been a bigger girl. I mean, I'm a twin, and my twin has always been skinny. I've always been bigger. Um I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm always on the fence because I know that I could be healthier if I was thinner, not super thin, but like just a couple of pounds. Um, I've done runway walks, but then I've also seen girls bigger than me do a one-way walk, but it feels like they're hurting their knees because they're not walking correctly. Um, I feel like it's a thin line between being healthy and being, fat. Let me see if I'm translating this one.
Well, I agree. Can I be healthier? Yes, absolutely. But for the most part, I want to say until I was about 40. I'm 44 now, but until I turned 40, I never had any health issues. I really didn't. And around that time is when I started having high blood pressure. But before then, I never had anything. I have my, normal sugar, normal cholesterol, things that are normally attributed to, being overweight. I never had an issue with. But can I be healthier? Yes, absolutely. I get tired, when I do things, and I might get out of breath going up a flight of stairs and things like that. So of course I could be healthier, but I don't think that it's always like you shouldn't just if you see an overweight person at the mall or wherever, just assume that they're an unhealthy person because you don't know what that
True.
person's background is, or that's what I meant by that.
Have you ever had a doctor's? I've had other girls tell me that they go to the doctor and before the doctor even diagnoses them, they already say, "Oh, I know what the issue is. It's because you're fat. You need to lose weight. You're morbidly obese." Do you think that's ever happened to you?
Yes, that's happened to me a lot. Um, Thankfully, like, I mean, you have to advocate for yourself. And if it's not, there's a million doctors out there, right? So if you go to a doctor that doesn't listen to you or you don't feel heard by this person or respected by this doctor, it's very simple to just leave and find another doctor. There will be someone where you have a good fit with. I also believe in chemistry. If you go to a doctor, you don't have chemistry with that doctor, it's very hard to kind of build that relationship will they sit down and like actually listen to you and give time to all your concerns and all of that. So
Right now, you need to
that's
find
why.
chemistry in a doctor and chemistry in a date. This is getting complicated.
Well, my dad always makes fun of me and tells me like that all my doctors are friends of mine, and it's kind of true. Like I'm friends with
Oh,
my dentist. I'm friends, with my gynecologist.
that's your
I'm friends because
personality.
I just feel like you have to have like they don't have to be your close friend, but just have a comfort level with that person where you're able to sit down and have a conversation about your concerns. So, because I have had doctors in the past where you go and they don't listen to you. and they're just like they attribute everything to me being fat, and so nothing is a big deal, and that's not fun. That's not okay.
And how do you feel about influence? Like, for example, a big influencer or the first Sports Illustrated model was Ashley Graham, right? Would you consider her a plus size model?
Well, by today's standards, she's a plus size model. Do I consider her plus size? No. I mean, she's gorgeous. I would love to have her figure. I don't consider her plus size,
Why?
but by because I don't think she's large enough to be. I would consider her like mid size.
Hmm.
She's not skinny, she's not big, she's like a mid size model. But by beauty standards, she is plus size because I think anything over like a size 10 is considered plus size for the media. So, but she
I
has done a lot, I think, in terms of body positivity and loving yourself and kind of, bringing light to all, inclusivity and having more plus size model on the runways. I think she's done a lot in that area.
Do you feel like she's a good role model? Because I really like what you just said is why I like Ashley Graham. Yeah, she's a plus size girl, but she advocates health, body positivity, not just enforcing the other stigma that we were talking about. All bodies are healthy. She mostly promotes, at
Right.
least in my eyes, she promotes a healthy lifestyle. She just happens to be, curvy.
Right. Well, like I said, I've been big my entire life. If you see my baby pictures, I came out of the womb like a chubby girl. But there's more to me than just that, you know? So when I meet somebody, I don't want them to like me because I'm fat. There's more to me than that. That's just one of the things. And I, of course, would love people to accept me for being larger because I am, it's part of me, but there's so much more. So I love influencers and people in the media that are like that, like you said, like they enforce a lifestyle, being healthier, but also accepting yourself as you are and all these different things. It's not just, I'm fat, accept me. That's it. There's more to it than that.
It's funny that you say that because, like, influencers, for example, like Ashley Graham, like, if you see her eating healthy, that's nobody really says anything. But recently, Lizzo, she posted up about, doing a cleanse and eating healthy, and people were attacking her, because she was trying to do something healthy for her body. It do you? I feel like there's like a lose. What's the word I'm looking for? But like, a big girl that makes her name out of being big and promoting body positivity decides to do something for herself, and people see it as, oh well,
Right.
I thought you were all about pro body and body positivity. I guess that's what I've been going back and forth in my head is, they're trying they're trying
Sorry.
to promote body positivity in all body shapes. But if they're trying to do something good for themselves, people just attack them by saying, oh, well, that's not body positive. Like, keep eating your burgers, girl. Like, you don't need a cleanse. You still look good. I feel like that's
Right.
a toxic comment. And that's what I'm trying to bring out in this episode.
Well, I think she did the cleanse. She went vegan. I follow her on Instagram and TikTok, but I don't know enough about why she did it. Um,
I don't
if
think
it
she
was
ever
for
said.
health reasons or if it was more like for animal rights or anything else. I'm not sure the reason behind it, but I do know that she was attacked in the media for that. And
Yeah.
again, you can be a big girl and still eat healthy. I eat healthy most of the time, believe it or not. Um, so it just, and what she was doing was the same thing that she advocates. She advocates for self love, taking care of yourself, doing things for yourself. And that's exactly what she did. She felt like she needed to do something for her health, for her spirit. And that's why she chose to just change the way that she ate and what she was doing for herself. So I applaud that, whether she loses weight or
Me
not,
too.
or whatever the reasons for it, I back that up, because she did something for herself and that's what she always stands for.
I like Lizzo.
I like her too.
She's a positive role model, at least when I think of like plus size
Yeah,
influencer.
absolutely. And she's very like pro woman, being an independent woman. And so I like that about her.
And she even has like this application to be a model for her, or part of her music. Yeah, modeling for her, and it's like she gives opportunities to all types of bodies, and that's what I really love. But when it comes to other
Will you be applying for that, for a spot on that?
I no, I don't know. I know, me shy.
Nah, you should. You should. I've seen videos of like friends, because the friends are shy or whatever, like friends that did the audition video for them and be
I've
like, "This
seen
is my
those. Those are so
friend.
cute.
You should consider her." I'm gonna think about that.
Oh, I should do you. You need a
No,
model.
no, no.
You know that gray lock of yours. Talking about influencers, a big name that comes up in plus size is Tess Holliday. This is another, well, this is an influencer that I'm always on the fence about. I know that she was the first plus size model on, um, hey, what's the name of the magazine? She was the cover girl for a magazine, and she was very criticized on it because she was very big. She's heavily tattooed. She's super small for a model. I think she's like 5 or 4'11" or something like that.
No, she's actually we're the same height. I'm 5'4",
Oh, she's five
and I
four.
read somewhere that she was 5'4", so she's actually not that short.
Oh, I'm 5'4"
But
too.
so
But
she's our
she's
height.
but for a model standard, I guess
Our
they meant
model standard,
short.
exactly. We're short.
So she's shorter than a model. She's bigger than like bigger than the normal model for sure. Bigger than Ashley. Um, but what I say on the fence with her is I don't consider her like a good role model, in my opinion, for the plus size world.
Why don't you consider her a good role model?
Because she, unlike the other people that we've talked about, like Lizzo and Ashley, they advocate a healthy lifestyle. And yes, they're still plus size, but I see Tess doing photo shoots with burgers, or, you know, promoting controversy when it comes to binge eating. Um, just it's not the same kind of vibe that I get from all the other plus size influencers that we're speaking about. I get more of like she's promoting the bigness. That's the best way
Right.
I could put it, instead of promoting body positivity, which goes back to the first subject that we're talking about. Is like, are all bodies beautiful, or are all bodies are healthy? I think she thinks more of all bodies are beautiful. It doesn't matter what I put in my mouth. When in reality, deep down at the end of the day, it does matter what you put in your mouth. I mean, if we all ate burgers every day or really bad stuff every day, we'd all be really bad health. I mean, I'm sure the girl in the TV show My 600 Pound Life, you know, I'm sure they don't feel beautiful when they need to ask somebody for help to get out of the bed, or need,
Listen,
extreme work.
I cannot watch that show.
Oh,
I watch all the bad TV on TLC, but I cannot watch that show for two reasons.
why?
One, every time I watch My 600 Pound Life, I sit on my couch thinking, "Oh my God, could that me be one day? Like, am I gonna keep gaining weight and become one of the people on this show?" And it like messes with my head. And the
Mm.
second reason is that every woman on that show has a boyfriend. Every single one of them. They can't leave the house, but they have boyfriends. And every time I watch it, I'm like, but what is wrong with me? Why can't I find a boyfriend? And all the women on this show have boyfriends.
But isn't it interesting? That's a whole nother subject,
That's
dating.
a whole other subject. That's part three.
Part three. But you see what I mean? Is that lifestyle? My 600 pound life. It's an extreme. but it's an
Yeah.
extreme a lot of Americans go through. It's not like an occasion like I don't know. I noticed a rise in how many contestants are in, and not contestants. It's not a TV like that kind of show, but there's a lot of people that are extremely overweight. Even if you go to Disney World, you see,
Yeah.
um, and in no way form am I saying these people are not beautiful. Everyone is beautiful. I mean, like you say, there's beauties in the eye of the beholder. They are all married or have boyfriends.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
No, there is beauty in everyone. But I think also when it's to an extreme like that, there's also either eating disorders involved or mental health issues a lot of the time. On that show you see them, where they have to go to therapy and because to let something go to that point, there has to be a reason for it, in the background. More than just medically, it's usually a mental health issue as well.
well, even with, and I know a lot of plus size influencers or anybody online will criticize. I don't know if you know who Eugenia Cooney is. She's an extremely skinny Twitch. She's a gamer on Twitch. Um,
Oh, yes, 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 yes. I know who you're talking about. Yes.
and people criticize her for
For
being
being too thin.
too thin that you can see her bones. Again, all bodies are beautiful. All bodies are healthy at any size. I mean, I'm just quoting what we're talking about. Um, but it's the same kind of mentality, but flipped around. She finds herself looking great, and you know, but people still criticize her for her weight. So no matter what, there's always going to be criticism, but it's about finding the healthy balance because for her, she has a lot of controversy online as people are saying that she should be banned because she'll be live streaming for like 12 hours or 8 hours straight. She never goes to the bathroom. She never eats. She never drinks water. There was even, if I remember correctly, a challenge called the Eugenia Cooney challenge that people watch her streams and not eat or drink because they're trying to be like her. So that could affect minors, because
Of
she is in,
course.
gamers are usually younger audience. So it could be the same thing with like Tess. Younger girls looking up to Tess and thinking, shit, I could eat whatever I want because I'm beautiful. See, so I feel like that's two extreme examples that I'm giving, and I feel like we should
But I
be
think
pushed.
a lot of the times when Tess does things like that, it's almost like in response, or she's trying to, I don't want to say bait the audience, but it's almost in response to the attacks that she gets online because she does get a lot of negative comments and people just being really mean to her. And I think that's almost like people that laugh at themselves because they think people are going to laugh at them kind of thing, where
Mm,
she does that because she's like, well, you think I sit around eating bonbons all day, so if that's what you think about me, here you go. That's how
mhm.
it feels sometimes, just like because I follow her and looking at her feed sometimes, I'm like, okay, here we go. you know, what is it gonna be today? Because she was attacked by somebody. But people are relentless in their commentaries and like the things that they tell her. And if you like read her comments, it's like so mean. It's just terrible.
I haven't read her comments. I've seen the Eugenia Cooney ones, and her comments are mostly like, "Oh, you're so beautiful, but you're gonna die." I'm sure Tess gets the same thing. Like, you're so beautiful, but you're so fat, you're gonna die. Um, I don't know where the line reaches of people trying to intervene into people's lives. Like, I know that when people say that sincerely, they mean it in the right. These are fans of these girls, and they want to see them, well. But do you think in these two extreme examples that it's difficult for these women to try to live a healthier lifestyle without losing their fame? I mean, Tess is known for being fat. Eugenia is known for being skinny. I would think mentally Eugenia would be like, man, if I gain weight, because I've seen a lot of videos of people
Because they get
analyze.
a lot of negative attention for it, but it's still attention.
Yes.
It's still fame. It's still, notoriety for those reasons. So I think it would affect them in a way. Just like Lizzo, like when she did like what we were talking about, she changed her diet and she changed her lifestyle, and then people were criticizing her because she was not going to get skinny, which she hasn't gotten skinny. She's changed a little bit, but it's not like an overnight thing. So I think it would affect them, and they've made a career out of that. So, it is something to think about.
It
Because you
is.
no longer, if she were to lose all this weight, she would no longer be the plus size model that made, so
Like, look at the girl from what's the name? The movie of the girls that harmonize. Rebel Wilson.
yes,
She was like
she's lost a
criticized
lot of weight.
for losing weight. That doesn't make her a different person. She's still the same actress, but some people are saying, "Ah, she's not the same."
But look at all the roles that she played. She played the chubby best friend. All
Mm,
the jokes were about her weight. It was like that was part of the characters that she's played, at least the movies that I've seen her in.
that's how all
So
fat
now
people
that
are
she's thin,
categorized.
she wouldn't be able to play the same roles because she's no longer the chubby best friend. They can't poke fun on her for being the fat one or, having double chin or whatever. So it does change.
And it's gonna affect her because, like you said, like people only know her as that role. I wonder, what her next role is gonna be and how it's gonna define. It's gonna be difficult for her. I would see just like Adele. you
Right.
know Adele, and it's so sad because they're trying to live, they're trying to improve themselves at the end of the day. And yes, Adele was beautiful then, beautiful now. It doesn't make her better. I hate the comments that say, "Oh, look at her now, she's glowing." I'm like, I'm pretty sure she was glowing before. I mean, look at how many
Yes,
Grammys
I
she
thought the
won.
same thing. Like when she
Ah!
came out, all those pictures came out a few months ago, and she was so thin, and everybody was like, "She's so gorgeous." And I thought she was so incredibly gorgeous when she was plus size. I mean, I was obsessed with her look because she had kind of like that 60s vibe going. And I thought she was so beautiful. Like, never did I think, wow, Adele, if she would lose some weight, she would look better. I thought she was gorgeous as she was. And then when she came out, and that's all you heard in the media was, oh, she looks so fantastic. But then, like, 2 weeks later, they're like, oh, Adele's getting too skinny. She's now too thin. And it's like, how do you win? You can't win with these people.
Just
It's
like
like a
Jessica.
Cuban grandma. Like if with a Cuban grandma, you're either too fat or you're too skinny. There's no in between.
Yes, like when you go to family get-togethers, if you don't eat, they think, "Oh, is something wrong? You're not eating."
You're gonna get too skinny.
Or if you eat, you're like, "Hey, guántate la boca que te está poniendo gorda." You're getting
Yeah,
fat. Close your mouth. It happens. It's true story. I'm sure
yeah,
all the
we've
Hispanics
all been
listening
through it.
know.
Yeah,
Or ethnic. I've heard other
yeah.
ethnicities as well. Well, just like Jessica Simpson a few years ago, or I forgot what year, when she came out to do a chili cook-off, and I think she was a size 10, and people said, "Oh my gosh, she's so big," you know. And looking back at that is like when you're watching it, you think, "Yeah, she's gotten big," but we've been conditioned by the media to think that she's gotten big, when in reality she was only a size 10. She looked good if you look at her now,
She
you
was
know
gorgeous. Yeah,
but it's just the way it's seen, "Oh, she changed weight," or, "Oh, Adele lost weight. She must feel way better. Like now she could." I'm like, bro, she won all those Grammys. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm
The
pretty
weight's not gonna affect her voice.
exactly.
Has nothing to do with that.
Do you ever
But
think
there's so much pressure on these actresses and models. Like I can't imagine what that would be like to live
mm,
under that scrutiny. That you gain 2 pounds and you're on the cover of a magazine because you gained 2 pounds, or if you get too skinny, like that's just terrible. There's so much pressure just on the outside when you really should be focusing on what's on the inside.
yeah, and what's in the inside doesn't change. I mean, if you're a nasty person when you're skinny and you get fat, you're still a nasty person. It's like
Exactly.
your personality doesn't change.
Exactly.
I just don't know what we could all do. I mean, I know what we could individually do to improve, because number one, we should focus on, letting people do what they want to, how can I say this? We could, I would think individually, everyone take care of their health, number one. When it comes to celebrities, pick and choose. If you're I would I'm not a parent, but you have nieces and nephews, right?
Mhm.
Like,
I do.
you would want them to look up to people or tell you, "Hey, Vivian, like, look at this. Look at Tess Holiday. Look, it doesn't matter if I eat and get fat. I'm still gonna look good." How would that make you feel?
Um, well, with my niece, we always, she's 10 years old. So she's in that age where she starts noticing her body and she
Mm.
feels very self-conscious. And she looks around and, she's very tall for her age. Um, so she's like the biggest one in her class. And she always looks around and thinks, like, why am I different from everybody else? And so we always try to stress, that you're beautiful, you're unique, you're different, and we're all different, and that's what makes us special and beautiful. Um, she's still not looking so much at different actresses or people like that, like as one person and saying this is my role model or I look up to her.
She doesn't
She's still
compare
kind of
herself.
collectively looking at different things. Um, but we do try to kind of steer her towards, positive role models and things like that. And even Tess, she might not be 100% a positive role model. But there are things that I think that are positive about her, and she does try. I think she does try to bring out a positive message. Like she advocates for the gay community, and she advocates for mental health issues and things like that. I think I'm not sure if it was her personally or her mom that suffered an abusive relationship, so she always also advocates for women to get support if they're in an abusive relationship and things like that. So there are positive things about her, and maybe focusing on the positive. But that I think that's a personal thing. Who I think when you have a role model or someone that you look up to, it's for a very personal reason. Like there's something about that person that kind of resonates with you, and that's why you look to them as somebody that you look up to.
When I think of Tess, this is for all you plus size ladies. You guys would understand. When I think of Tess, I think of a comment that I get all the time. That is, "Oh my God, you have such a beautiful face, but if you lost a little weight," because I
That is
feel
one
like,
of the most annoying comments that a chubby girl can get. Yes.
yes, if you know a chubby girl, never tell her, never, never. If you're a man, never do this either. Never tell her, "Oh, you're so cute. If you lost a little more, you have a cute face. If you lose a little weight, ah, ah." That's how I
Or
feel
you'd
about
be the perfect woman if only you were thin. I got that one
it.
once from a
You
guy.
did?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
You'd be perfect if only you were thin.
Mm, mm, mm,
It's
mm,
like,
mm.
really? Okay.
Some people, some people. But I feel like Tess gets that a lot because when I was looking up stuff about her a lot, that comment came out so many times. And I'm here like, yo, I feel like everybody gets this comment that's plus size. I think it's because, our voluptuous selves get a little more extra plump in the face. So it gives us that little baby like Disney feature.
On the plus side, we don't wrinkle as quickly.
There you go.
We look younger.
Ay. So, how do you feel about how another thing I do like about Tess Holiday, that I can't hate on, is that she owns her sexuality when it comes to things. I feel like it's such a weird mental state that we all have, that like fat women are not sexy when fat women are sexy. And that's something
Right.
on the next episode that I'm with you 2 weeks from now, because I want to let people soak in this
It
and
has to
write their
marinate.
comment. It has to marinate, because as you can see, we both have like different opinions in this conversation, but it's a conversation that I feel like we need to have and to get ideas. And I'm always about learning new things and seeing a new perspective. Because if not, I'll just sit here in my room alone, just thinking all these thoughts.
Staring at the beyond, thinking all these things.
Thinking like Tess does show her sexuality, which is something that I feel like we, as and I use fat in not a mean way, but I own it because
I do too. That word doesn't offend me. Maybe when I was growing up, if I heard the word fat, it was like, oh, But as an adult, I've come to accept myself and love myself, and that's just part of who I am. It's not, the only thing I am. And the word doesn't bother me. I am fat. I am overweight. Can't hide it. So
Yeah, why
it
hide
doesn't
something
bother
so beautiful?
me.
But yeah, so Tess, I feel like she does show the her sexual side, which I really appreciate. Just like Ashley, like she'll show herself breastfeeding her child. That's a whole different subject about breastfeeding in public. I'm actually gonna have a few pinup moms come on the show in the future to talk about being a mom and different things. Um, but being sexual shouldn't be just for skinny people,
Of
or
course not. No,
which
absolutely not.
but then you also have people that objectify, but every genre has objectification of sexuality. I'm sure there's only
Yes.
men that love fat. I would say that's learning from a few episodes ago with Sarah. The
Yes. All the
between
fetishes.
a fetish and a kink, I feel like that's its own little world, and you would have to be, like she would say, consenting adults. If you do want to participate in that kind of stuff.
There's women that feel like, well, if I'm gonna be if he's with me because it's a fetish to him to be with a bigger woman, I have an issue with that. I personally don't have an issue with that because I think if you're gonna like me and find me beautiful, if that's your fetish, that's fine. If that's your kink, that's fine. If you just find me beautiful, that's fine too. You know. So that personally, that's like on a personal level, that doesn't bother me. Um, but yeah, it's like everything. There's preference. I have a preference as well. And
We all have our
we
thing.
all have our type, right? So
Yes.
that doesn't offend me in the
You know,
least bit.
and that is what we're going to talk about in the next episode that we're together. We're going to talk about, dating and being big and fat and
Plus size
voluptuous.
dating.
Plus size dating.
As in dating wasn't difficult enough.
Ugh. Good thing I'm not dating right now, but I've dated a lot, so I have a lot to say in that episode, and I'm sure you as well. And if you guys have anything to say, make sure to text me or write it down below, and I'll say it in the episode. It's gonna be episode 45. So next week, I have we're gonna take a little break from all the fat phobia influencers, plus size. We're gonna talk about pinup again. But this also revolves to pinup because in the pinup world, it's more size inclusive now in the vintage world with all these repo brands and loving all bodies. So this is very prevalent to the pinup world. Um, but next week I'm going to talk about Pin Tampa. I'm going to have the two owners of Pin Tampa come onto the show and talk about the first meetup event in the west coast of Florida that I'm so excited to start. We started Pin Tampa in the middle of the pandemic, and finally we're going to have the first event. So we're going to talk about that.
That's
And
so
then the
exciting.
following week after that, we're going to talk about the continuation and dating and being plus size. And I really want to hear what you guys have to say because me and Vivian, as you could see, we have so many thoughts and opinions about this topic. And we just want to converse and bring it out. Do you have anything that you want to add or request?
Well, definitely, if anybody has any pointers for dating in current life situations and being plus size, I welcome it because I'm a single girl and I'm struggling in the dating scene. So
Hook
I could
Vivian up. Hook
I
Vivian
could
up with the
definitely
tips.
use some pointers. Um, and definitely, owning our sexuality. You touched on that subject, and I've been dying to dive into that. When we've had these topics before, because it's so important. Like you said, just because we're overweight or we're plus size doesn't mean we're any less sexual than a thin woman. So, absolutely, I think that's a great topic to touch on. So, any pointers, any opinions, any ideas, bring them on.
I'm so excited for that episode.
Me
I will
too. It's
Guys,
gonna
I
be the
want
Pin Podcast After Dark.
Ooh. You guys seem to be loving these subjects, and I appreciate the feedback. But stay tuned, guys. I look forward to this, to hearing what you guys have to say. I'm so excited. Thank you again one more time for listening in, and thank you, Vivian, for joining this week. It means the world to have you again.
I'm so happy to be back.
And you'll be back again soon. So don't get too comfortable away from the
All
camera.
right.
All right, guys, stay safe, be happy, love yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.